What is up, YouTube? Back again with the video. In today's video, man, I got something kind of cool, I guess, for those that care. Do another class set of videos. So I don't remember exactly all the guns I've made videos on so far. So I'm just gonna pick a couple of the guns I've been working on for the Ultra Mastery grind. And I'm just gonna roll with them, and we're just gonna showcase these variants, these builds that I've been running with them, and you guys can decide to use them if you use one, or if I've already done a video with those builds and you want to use those builds, those videos are up already, so you can watch those. We won't be doing the ACR because I know for a fact I've done this like twice already, probably even 3 times. They did partially fix the create a class system. I showed the cases in the video I made a couple days ago, where you can now delete guns from the create a class menu. Now it's actually working. At least it was. It is, yeah. It's still working, which is dope. Love to see it. But yeah, man, we're gonna go into this, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. I have some personal stuff going on right now, which I'll be making a video probably on soon, depending on what happens. But that's why my videos have been kind of all over the place. I've been just dealing with some personal stuff. And I've been looking at trying to talk to a therapist, by the way. For anyone out there who knows free therapy, it's just like any like company out there does free therapy, let me know down below. I've been looking at a bunch of different companies and places to go to do therapy. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for myself. I think it's healthy, and I don't mind talking about it as much for you guys, because I know some of you guys out there also struggle with different things. And there should be no real shame in asking for help. But I've been talking, I think I'm going to do it with the church. I think there's a church that, like an online church that does it. So I might do it with them. But if you guys know of any like systems you went through that was completely 100% free, and that maybe you went through whatever, let me know down below, or hit me up in the DMs on Discord. Either way, super chill. With that being said, let's get into these builds. So the first build that I got for you guys is the one I've been really using a lot recently, because this is the gun I'm working on currently for the Ultra Mastery, and that is the MTZ build that I got right here. Now you're going to see two main attachments throughout every single one of these builds, pretty much. So keep this in mind. So if you want to like just fast forward through these, you don't have to watch the first few seconds of each build, because it's going to be, two same attachments. And that's going to be the glassless optic and the Jack BFB muzzle. Those two are pretty much standard on all my builds. Just because I really enjoy those two, that combination. They're really good for recoil control. But yeah, so just a heads up is that. Also, don't mind the cars in the background. My window is open like always, but it seems like the cars it's a lot busier out at the current moment. I can't wait to put my AC in, because once I put the AC in, it won't be nearly as loud. But anyway, with this build, we got the glassless optic and the Jack BFB muzzle. And then we also have the MTZ Drifter Heavy Barrel. 5.56 NATO rounds, the high grains, the 50-round drum. Now, you could do one or two things with this build to change it if you absolutely needed to. I think this is a pretty base AR overall. Like, if you use this, you're going to be pretty solid for the most part when it comes to just getting high kills. Now, I will say that 50-round drum has got me killed quite a lot because of the reload speed. The problem with this gun is it only has, if we take this off, and we let it load here, it only has a 30-rounder default, and the only other mag is a 20-rounder. So you really are hurting your ability to get a lot of kills. Now, I think I might be running this with the 30. I might try this with a 30 again, maybe with this build. Maybe I put a different stock on or something. Maybe I could probably get this thing to be a little better. So if you get rid of that magazine, what I would recommend, though, is the DR6 hand stop grip. This is pretty much another, same as the other two attachments I was talking about. If I put a grip on a gun, it's probably this. I believe, if I remember correctly, this has the highest percentage for ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, movement, crouch movement, and ADS movement out of all the grips. There's not really any grips that will do anything better than that. There might be one or two that give better, say, movement, but that's like all they do. They only give you movement. They don't give you any the other benefits that this one has. So if you're running this, make sure you run this grip. I think you'll find that it's quite enjoyable to run, and it makes your gun super fast. So you can use that or the 50-rounder, and then obviously you can take off the NATO high grain rounds, but I do think right now that the MTZ struggles TTK wise against a lot of the other assault rifles at the current moment. So keep that in mind. It is not the strongest AR anymore. The Ram 7, the BP-50, the Holger, the MCW, those four are going to be pretty dominant in pretty much every firefight, especially the MCZ because it's super overpowered at the current moment. So I would recommend running the high NATO rounds because they give you 15% effective and minimum damage ranges, as well as the bullet velocity. That bullet velocity going up from 611 to 703 is pretty insane. But that's what I would run on this thing. Again, you can swap out that grip for a magazine, or vice versa. And then obviously, if you wanted to get rid of the NATO rounds, you could probably put if you get rid of the NATO rounds and the underbarrel, you could put a stock and a grip on this thing. But I don't know if you really need it, to be quite honest. Again, a lot of the guns in this game are pretty solid base ADS wise, so adding 1 or 2 attachments is all you really need. You don't need a bunch of them. So that's the MTZ. We're going to go here to the next one, and I have the ACR Heavy, or in this game is called the Sidewinder, but it's basically just a heavy ACR is what it is. Part of the same tree. Now this one I have the Jack BFB muzzle, the Tempest precision barrel, the DR6 hand stop, the Regal heavy stock, and then the LMG kit for it. Now, some people might say, bro, why did you no optic on this, man? What are you doing, bruh? What are you doing? What are you doing, bruh? Well, the recoil is really bad on this thing. So normally, this gun has a recoil problem in general. But with the LMG kit, you get a lot more recoil than you say you would if you didn't have the LMG kit. But normally you could solve that issue by just putting an optic on it, and then you put a grip on it, and you put a stock on it, you'd be solid, right? Well, the LMG kit, that's not enough, right? You can't just swap things on it. You have to strategically place things on this gun specifically a certain way that minimizes its recoil capacity, right? So this LMG, remember, it's firing, it's going to increase fire rate as you hold the trigger. So the longer you hold the trigger, the faster it's gonna shoot, the harder it's gonna hit, right? And because of this, I built it so it's longer, because the longer the gun, it seems to even out the recoil, right? I don't understand how this logic even works in game, but it does. I can't explain it. I've tested 20 different builds of this thing, and this is the best build I've gotten with this thing so far. And even it could still be tweaked. Maybe if I put on a lesser barrel and put maybe more attachments on for recoil, like a rear grip or something, maybe, but it's not really too noticeable. Now, this iron sights on this gun aren't bad because, again, it's ACR iron sights, so the ACR iron sights aren't bad by any means. So if you did want to run a scope on this, you could run it over the hand grip, because the underbarrel, the hand stop is only there for speed. But this thing is super slow. One of the negative effects of this kit is you are losing serious mobility, man. You are losing some serious mobility. I'm sure you guys can see the stats right now that I'm showing. And man, you are losing so much mobility. It's not even funny. So that's why I say it's very, very important that you run the hand stop, because it's going to give you some more of that mobility back to you, so you're not such a heavily negative. Now, one thing that's really weird about this LMG kit, I haven't really played with it all that much in multiplayer. This is something I want to play with more as I go forward, especially when I start working on this thing for the Ultra Mastery, since I have to get 1,000 kills with it. It says it negatively impacts your damage, but your range is somehow increased, which makes no sense, because if your damage is reduced, but you increase your damage range, you're not that makes no sense, because damage should be affected by both, right? Your damage and your range are intertwined, right? They're one. They're as one. They're one solid thing. So when you change that, it doesn't make any sense. Now, the rate of fire is increased by only 3%, but that is completely lie. It's 100% increase. It's gonna be completely different when you're shooting it, so keep that in mind. But again, I may not run this. I actually like the Sidewinder the way it was. It takes some getting used to. It's one of those guns where you can't just be naturally good at it. You need to actually practice with it. And then once you start practicing with it, you can really make it a super OP weapon in the right hands. So that's the build I'm running with that currently. Again, This is probably going to change. I don't know if I'll be running this kit the entire time. Once I start working on it, I might find that I don't like the kit. Maybe it's just not convenient. I feel like in certain maps, certain modes, maybe it could be convenient, like a domination or hardpoint. On say like shipment or something, or shoe house. This could be really good. But I play a lot of search and destroy right now with the boys. So playing search, this thing, if it's slower or doesn't hit hard enough, it may not be convenient for my usage. So it really depends. Play with the build a little bit. But overall I think it's pretty good. By the way, this muzzle is the best muzzle in the game for recoil. So if you're going for recoil control, make sure you're running that BFB, because if you run this thing without BFB, you're gonna regret it, man. As long as you don't hold the trigger down, you'll be fine. But if you hold that trigger down, it's a wrap. Bro, you can get folded. The next gun, we're gonna go over here to the BF50 or BP50. I don't know why I said BF. The BP50. Oh my god, bro. The W2000. Fuck it. It's just what we're calling it now. I don't care, bro. This name is triggering me. But anyway, again, like before, we have the Jack BFB muzzle, the Lore 9 heavy barrel. I don't know why I was gonna say E. The 5.56 NATO high grain rounds, the 45 round mag, and then the Con 30 padded stock. Now, this gun is such a weird gun. I've been seeing so many people run optics on this, and I don't understand why, because I think its iron hits are really good. Though, I think when I finish grinding this thing for the Ultra Mastery, because you guys can see right here that I have, I just need to do the price list. That's pretty much it. I think I get 300 priceless kills. But I think about trying an optic on it and to see how it goes, but I just don't know what I would want to get rid of. So the problem with the BP50 or the W2000 is it's super weak in comparison damage-wise. So normally this thing has 725 bullet velocity, 16 damage to the like just the normal, like the effective, like the maximum damage range, and then the 40 damage per the minimum. So if you're up close to someone, say you're point blank, you're doing minimum you can do is 40, right? Or say the farthest away is I said that all wrong. I'm keeping it in there. I'm keeping it in. Effective is the close one, right? So if I'm close to you, if I'm point blank, right, I'm going to be doing a minimum of 60 damage or 16 damage, and then the minimum damage range, I think, is what it's talking about, is the minimum you can get. So if they're the farthest away that they can be on a map, the minimum you'll do is at least 40. I think that's what they mean. I really truly don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I just know that green is good, red is bad. It's the best way to explain that. So if you look at that, it's super weak. And then you go to the high grain NATO rounds, and that boosts you up to 834 milliseconds, or I could be wrong. I don't know what that's. I don't think. I'm pretty sure it sounds mega. I'm pretty sure it's megaseconds. I'm pretty sure. But it might be meters by second too. I don't exactly know what the MS stands for. I'm not a fucking nerd. But anyway, that's the full velocity, and then you have the 46% for damage, and then 18% for the other damage. So you got a nice increase, not a whole lot of increase, but that bullet velocity is good. Like, you want that high velocity, you want the rounds going very, very fast. So that's why I've been in the high grain. But honestly, you could probably get away with no high grain and just say get rid of these, and then put the glassless optic on. That's not the glassless optic. And then maybe you would have a good setup here too. I'm not a whole big fan of putting optics on every gun. I know a lot of people just say, oh, well, optics make it act more accurate. Not really. Sometimes yes. So sometimes guns that have optics on them become better than when they had no optics. I mean, for example, if you put an optic on the ACR, it becomes like 40 times better, because the iron sights are just not the best in this game compared to the original iron sights of the ACR back in the day. But then you got guns like the FAMAS, which I put an optic on, and that gun's kind of struggling with an optic. It kind of hurts it. So it just really depends on what you're going for, and then it depends also on the gun, because some guns, again, don't need optics. So you just keep that in mind. But that's the W2000 build that I've been running. And then we got a classic here from last year. We have the John Wick revolver, or the Basilisk. On this, I'm running a 6.75 Corvus Cougar 500 barrel, the 500 overpressured, the S40 rapid loader, then the Bryson match grade trigger action, and the Bryson WD85 grip. Now, this is what's weird about this one, all right? So this one is not my build. Ironic. It's not my build. This is actually from Infinity Ward themselves, from the devs. The reason I say that is because this build pretty much for one. I might have changed one or attachment or two attachments, but every attachment on here is the actual Rick Grimes revolver. I don't know if I said John Wick earlier, but it's Rick Grimes, not John Wick. If I said that, but the Rick Grimes revolver that they released with the Battle Pass, it's just that build. That's what I'm using right now. It's just that build. Now, a lot of these attachments, if you're actually looking at the stats, these attachments should not be this good. Like this barrel is by far the best barrel in the game for this revolver, 110%, right? But there's something weird about this build specifically about the Basilisk. So I really hated the Basilisk last year when I was grinding for Orion. I did not like the Basilisk. I thought it was cringe. It was weak. And I felt the same way about it this year when I was grinding, when I had it like just on my builds or whatever, right? When I was, just fucking around or whatever. But then this build came out, and something about this just is off. It is stupidly good for no reason. Like half these attachments are negatively impacting the gun. For example, this speed loader does nothing. Like literally does nothing. Like it says it does stuff, but it doesn't do anything. So you see their stat wise, it does not change. It says that it helps with all these movements, and it negatively impacts your ammo reserve. But you can see, stat-wise, nothing has changed. So this stat is accurate. This is more accurate than what those labels say, right? So it doesn't change anything, right? So that is a negative attachment because it's not benefiting you, right? It's just taking up a slot for another attachment. Same for the trigger action, because there's way better trigger actions. This trigger action does nothing but negatively impact your accuracy. Like what? Or not your accuracy, your hipfire accuracy, I should say. So again, but this works. It's so good. I've been loving this. You've probably seen some clips on it on my YouTube already. I've been loving this variant. I've been addicted to using this. I was a big tier fan, and I still am a big tier fan of the revolver in MW3. But this is by far the best revolver in the game currently. If you are a speed demon player, if you are a rapid movement player and you're looking to get into enemies, throw them in their head and run away, this is your revolver. Super satisfying to use, super accurate, and this build is insane. I can't explain it. I haven't tried this build with the gun default. So let me know down below, is this build good with the default version, with building it? And if it is or isn't, let me know. I'm just curious, because I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. It might be better or worse. I don't want to come out and say this is pay to win. I don't want to be that person, be like, oh, this variant's pay to win, bro. But I can't explain it any other way. Like, stat-wise and testing are telling me two different things. The stats are telling me that it's a good build, or a terrible build, but when I go in-game, it's like, it's just built different, I guess. I don't know, man. But that's the Basilisk. Now we got the Glock. I'm going to show you guys the Glock. I think I showcased this in the last video of this type of system of showing builds, but I'm going to show it again. So the Glock, we have the XRK Pyre 9 heavy long barrel, the 45 ACP auto heavy high grain mags, the high grain rounds, the 30 round magazine, and then the XRK lightning fire trigger action, and then the tactical grip cover for the rear grip. Not much to say about this. It's just a W. You could run this conversion kit, but I'm not a fan of the conversion kit, to be honest. A lot of the pistol conversion kits I kind of hate. But you can run this if you guys want. There's a couple different builds for the Glock. I like to go with that more John Wicky style Glock builds. You took notice this last year, and maybe the year before that if I was making videos on Glocks. I know I was using them, but I don't know if I remember if I made videos on them or not. But any game that has a Glock in it, you'll take notice that I really like to make them like John Wick. John Wick's Glock style is such a perfect style, and I think bringing that over here to the Glock area is a great sound. The only thing I will say is if you're going for a more visually Glock style, and I'm gonna make a John Wick builds specifically, but I will say this barrel I'm using right here, this one, the XRK Swift Shot, is way better visually as a Glock because a lot of the John Wick barrels are like the more modernized, which have like little holes in the slide. But nonetheless, this is the best. The barrel that does not have the holes in the side is definitely the better barrel for stat wise speaking. You will see that your mobility is kind of hurt with this barrel, but the only reason it's here is because its damage and recoil is so good. But otherwise, this build's amazing. Now, some people said I should be running the 40. The 40 really just hurts your like ability to move fast, like insane, bro. Like even the 30 is kind of OP. Like it hurts a lot. But I like the 30 because I like to just go on a high kill streak. And usually if I'm pulling this thing out, I'm gonna be smoking some fools, right? So I'm not really worried about mobility. It's usually just for emergency. But again, that 40 is just, it hurts so bad, bro. It's insane. So if you want to run the 40, you can. I don't think it's needed. I think the 30 is perfect. If you don't want the 30, you want a smaller, the 18 is still better than the default. The default, I believe, if we take the 30 off it, the default's only 14 rounds. So, I mean, if you want a bigger mag, but you don't want to go crazy, you can add the 18 rounder. That's only 4 more rounds, but do what you gotta do, man. But that's what I've been using. Again, I don't know why it's off center, by the way. So if you're wondering why the gun's off center, it just does that. I don't know why it does it, man. I don't know, man. This game is broken, bro. This game is broken. But that's what I would run for the Glock. And the last gun we're gonna showcase here is we're gonna showcase the Ram 9. Because I don't know if I did a video on this yet because this is new. So Ram 9, I'm running the FSS Imperator light barrel, the Jack BFB, the DR6 hand stop, 50 round magazine, and the Hunker 5 stock pad. Now, this gun makes me frustrated. It is the only gun in the game that I just cannot vibe with, bro. And it sucks, dude, because everyone else has been using this gun and vibing with it, and I just can't. I can't get downs with the Rams 9s, man. I just cannot get downs with it, man. I just can't. Every time I use this thing, I get frustrated. It's annoying. So I'm not looking forward to this thing for the Ultra Mastery because that's going to be rough experience for your boy. But this is the best build that I came up with while running it. This is a build that gave me some type of satisfaction while using it. Obviously, it's not perfect. I think a couple of different things could change. I would like to get rid of the stock, maybe put a comp or something, or maybe an optic instead, and then maybe get the 50 rounder out of there. And I would like to run the 40 because the 40 is better for mobility. But this gun really is just a PB gun, really is what it is. It's super weak in comparison. But yeah, that's the build I'm running with the Ram 9. Not too much to say about that one. Just, I don't like it. I don't like that gun, bro. The Renetti. So the Renetti I've been running here is, this is a ranked play safe build. Only thing you have to change on ranked play is the ammo type, I believe, and maybe the trigger. I don't know if those two things are ranked play safe. But I don't really make ranked play builds anyway. But I'm using the MK2 Renetti long barrel, the 9mm high grain rounds, 30 round magazine, the Bruin Express trigger, the Bruin Onslaught rear grip. Now this Renetti is actually becoming one of my favorite Renetti builds that I've come up with. I've had a couple over my time in this game. Some involve this carbine kit. But my biggest problem with the Renetti is that it's really just inconsistent. So like sometimes best is like one of the best pistols in the game. Then other times it just feels so weak that I could throw it at somebody and do more damage. So I don't know. It might just be me, but it is what it is, I guess. So here's the build with it though. If you guys want to run the Renetti, I personally try not to run the Renetti as much as possible. You'll see a lot of my builds, I'm going to showcase here, a lot of my builds, either tiers or they're the Glock or they're the Rick pistol. So it just really depends. So I think this is the only build in the entire of all my classes that has, it's the only build that has the Renetti is the Ram 9. So it is what it is. That is all the builds for today's video. If you guys want me to make some more builds, again, there's 122 guns in the game. So if you guys want builds with other guns, let me know. I'm not stopping this grind, Ultra Master grind, anytime soon. I plan to still continue it. And then on top of this grind, after this is done, I will begin the MW2 grind as well for the Ultra Master because I have a couple guns left to do there. So let me know down below if you guys want MW2 builds too. It might take me a while to get to those just because I'm so far from being done this as Ultra Master grind. I think I've only done like 6 guns, like 100% done, and about 15 of them have at least one challenge done. So I have a long, long way from being done this Ultra Master grind, especially since I'm basically only playing S&D recently. I just don't have a reg mode team. I don't have a squad that plays Dom or anything like that, so that really hurts for the grind. But we'll get there, man. In good time. In good time, you know what I'm saying? But that being said, man, I hope this video helps some of you guys with some of the builds. It's really just... It's the simplest way to make builds in this game is just think... no recoil, you want the high damage, and you want some decent mobility. Those are the 3 things that you want. So pay attention when you're building your classes. Don't put suppressors on that do barely anything for you. I see some people running around with like the weird suppressors that do like hardly any damage buffs, but they do like horrible for mobility. Take them off. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, this is not a milsim game where you can go for visuals if you want. This is Call of Duty, so be a little smart when you're building, man. Be smart, be intelligent. Don't put big-ass scopes on guns that don't need it. If you're running an AK, you don't need a sniper scope, man. I'm just going to be honest. You don't need it. It's not needed, bro. For other guns, like if you're running the battle rifles and stuff, don't put the small mags on it, bro. Put those medium to big mags on, like 30s, 40s, 50s, if you can. Don't be... I see some people running around with like 20 round mags for the Bass P. Why? Why? That's not even enough to kill somebody in this game. And then when you're building, just be smart about it. Be smart. Read the stats. Don't be afraid to question your stats. When you're building, go into custom games and try them. I know it takes a lot of time. And some of you don't have a whole lot of time to play. That's why I play the game for you and try to give the best builds from testing. And that's okay. That's what I like to do. But don't be afraid to take your couple, an hour or something out of your day to try some builds because it's super satisfying when you find that sweet spot build. But yeah, with that being said, I'm just rambling at this point. I love you guys. Sorry about the uploads being so weak. They're coming back. I just got to do some personal stuff that's been in my brain and just been consuming my brain. But once I get that dealt with, I'm going to be out here like Floyd Mayweather, bro. Be like, yeet. But with that being said, man, I love you guys. You're one of a kind. You're beautiful. Until the next one, later.